tonight, besides making you seasick, what I'm going to try and do is we're going to make a bouquet holder. What this is a smaller version of a door hanger, and on the top it already has holes and a place to put your florals. So your florals will be zip tied up here and go up, and this is just a simpler way to do a bouquet. Okay, so we're going to work on this tonight. If I can keep from dropping my camera every 15 minutes. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is our bouquet holder needs a hanger. So let me get under here, get my hanger box. Okay, now usually for hangers, you can use covered wire. You can use hemp cord or jute cord, or you can use beads. And I do alternate between all of these when I make a door hanger. I think that this one I'm going to use the wire, only because it looks like an old water pitcher. Okay, now when you start off, you're going to put your hanger on first, because you're going to put that on the back, and you don't want to smash all of your florals and your bows when you do that. Okay, so let me get my staple gun. Let me get, let's get a 9. Okay. So I start out with an 18-inch piece, and then I double it up so it's 9 inches. Now this is probably going to be bigger than what I need, but it's easier to work with something bigger than something smaller. Then what I do is I take my wire and I'm going to twist it together to make a single strand hanger. Now there's no rhyme or reason why I do this, it's just preference. I like the double strength. Wire is wire, but I think the double strength just makes it more durable. And then because I'm lousy at making loops, I do it around the cup. I just take it and bend it around my cup, so I get a nice, neat loop. See how that looks? I don't know if you can see it very well. There you go. Makes a nice, neat loop. Now I'm going to put this so that it stays behind my floral holder. You see the forms you got there? So let's go ahead and cut ourselves 2 squares. Now, even though I'm using 1/4 inch staples, and this is 1/4 inch wood, sometimes my staples go through, and you don't want your staples coming through on your painted side. So as a precaution, I put down just some foam strips, like so, and then I'm going to staple on top of those. I use some of my DAP Rapid Fuse glue, put that on there. Put a piece there. Sorry about my hair. It looks like a mess. I washed it and can't do a thing with it right now. So I just tied it all up. We're going to need that. Okay? So while that's drying, we're going to take this and we're going to staple it once in the loop and once on the outside. What this does is keeps it from sliding through. So I'm going to put once right through the loop, and then once at the top. See how that works? This side, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to curl it up. And then I'm going to staple once through the hoop. And then once on the outside. There we go. Now that that's done, you have the raw edges of the wire and the staples. I don't think they would, but just in case that they might get off there, just in case they might scratch your wall or your door, I'm going to put a coat of hot glue over that. Again, you don't have to. It's just a precaution on my part. I'd rather be safe than sorry. I never want a customer to call me and say, oh my God, your door hanger scratched my door. All right. Now, what I also do is I put baby bumpers. Well, that's what I call them. Actually, they're just chair bumpers. You know, the chair pads that you use to keep your chairs from scratching the floors. And I will put 2 of those down here. The reason I do that is if you have kids or grandkids, during the summer, they'll come in and out of the door, in and out, in and out. And nobody lets the door, they don't close the door gently, they let it slam. So with this bouncing up and down on your door, you want to muffle the sound a little bit. So that's why I put the bumpers on there. Just so that when the door gets slammed, you don't hear it rattle and clang. The little bumpers here will muffle. And they don't mildew, they don't get moldy. Like I said, these are chair cushions for the feet of chairs. So they seem to have a good resistance to wear and tear and mold and mildew. Okay, so there we go. You can't see any of our internal workings, which is the way you want it. But we've got our hanger and we've got our cushions. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside and let it dry and cool off. What I picked to go with our red is I picked out this beautiful spring pick. This would work for Mother's Day. It would work for spring. It would work for Easter. Every day, you know, Mom wants something pretty on her front door. This would also work in a dining room or a kitchen, a bedroom. So what we have here, let me fluff it all out, is the different florals, different types of spring flowers. Bring them all to the front here. Fluffing them out. Okay. Now this is what we call my thriller. So this means that my thriller is going to be the main attraction, the main show to my arrangement. You see it's got the different flowers and the different pinks. It's got the different greeneries and the berries. Okay. There we go. I have yellow berries on this side, so I wanted yellow berries over on this side. Okay, so we're going to spread that out. Now, when you cut this, because the stem is way too long, you want to make sure that you cut it below what they call the knuckle. This is where all the pieces are joined together. So you don't want to cut it up there or everything will come unraveled. When you cut it, you want to cut it down here. But before I cut it, I also like to put a little bit of glue on it, just to make sure that tape doesn't unwind. Because yes, it has unwind on me, and it makes me mad, and it's frustrating. So we'll just put that on there and let it set for a minute. But that's our thriller. The next thing you have is called a spiller. That's something that's going to come down the side of your arrangement, be it in a vase, be it a planter outside, whatever. The same rules apply. You want a thriller, which is something big and bold that grabs the attention. You want a spiller, which is something that's going to drape over the edge of your arrangement or your pot, your bouquet. And then lastly, we will add what is called a filler. So let me get these bent down. These are going to be spilling over our plant, our pot. Let's get it going in different directions. Now, I want you to think about how vines grow. Vines don't grow just straight. Straight would be boring. Vines usually curl and twist. So what I get is a wood dowel. I go to the wired end of the wire, and I'm just going to twist this around just to give it some shape and something other than straight. You see that? See how it's now twisted and curled? Because nothing in nature grows straight. the wind blows it, so the limbs and the leaves will grow in different directions. They go in the direction of the sunshine. They twine around looking for other plants to twist onto. So I'm just giving this some shape, and we will be able to refine the shape once we get it on our organizer, okay? Okay, so there's my spiller. Okay, so let's set that aside. Let's go ahead and trim it. I'm going to trim it down to the second knuckle. Again, this first knuckle here is where it's all connected, so you don't want to cut it, but we can cut down to the second knuckle. There we go. All right. And next comes my filler. Now these are just a small filler flower. Folks in the creative world or creative community refer to them as 60919. Now your 60919 has several different flowers in it, different greeneries. You notice I've got a fern, I've got some berries, I've got a vine or two. My florals are both white, red, and pink, okay? And this is what will go in between my thriller to help fill in the empty spots. Okay, so we're going to spread it out. Oh, let's let this little cattail one come up on this side. Let's have one come around on this side. Okay, again, I'll rearrange most of this after I get it into my design, but I wanted to fluff it out for you. And I will use two of those, one for each side of the design. Excuse me. Allergy season is upon us. I still think somebody pissed off Mother Nature. That's why she's being so aggressive this year. I don't remember it being so bad last year. So you fluff it out, make sure all of your florals have shape and form, because again, nothing grows straight in Mother Nature. Everything has a different bend or twist to it. So there we go. Okay, for now, I will just set this aside. And let's work on our form here. So when I do this, I use twist ties. Get out my twist ties. I have two different sizes. I use the small 4-inch ones, and then I use the 6-inch ones. Okay, so what we're going to do is this is pretty much dried, so we're going to trim that below the knuckle. Okay, then we're going to place it how we want it, how high or how low you want it on your design. Now don't worry about it showing. We have a bow that we will put on there, which will hide the lower workings. We will be using the Swiss dot red and white to match the pot, to put a bow here at the bottom to hide that. Okay, so we want to put that at an angle. I'm going to feed my twist tie down, or my zip tie down the hole, and back up the other side where I've caught the center piece. And we're going to cinch it down. Now you want to make sure that your buckle is on the front side. And the reason you do that is so that it doesn't scratch your wall or your door. Okay, I have that cinched down where I want it. Trim it. Now I can fluff this out a little more. Make it go all different ways. Make sure everything shows and is pretty. You can see everything. Now I'm going to put a second twist tie up here, up at the top. Again, you feed it through and feed it up so that it circles one of those center supports, and then you zip it down. Now, if you wanted to use mesh, you could use mesh on the base of this if you wanted. You could put mesh here and then put florals. I wanted this to look like a country, an old country, what do you call these things? Picture. I know it's not a picture, it's called something else, but I just can't think of the name, okay? So now, we've got that on there. I've got it fluffed out, I think, pretty much the way I want it. So now I'm going to take my spiller, remember our spiller? I'm going to divide it up here a little bit. And I'm going to put it in right next to the nub that's already there. Can you see? Can you see I'm putting it right there? And since I'm going around both stems, I'm going to need to use a longer zip tie. So we feed it down in the same hole as we did the other one. Feed it up the other side. Okay. And then we're going to cinch it down. I want to make sure that that lays flat so I can get it good and tight. There we go. Right, these longer ones, I want them to spill down the front. So I'm going to bend them so they spill down the front of my vase. And the others, I'm going to have twist and curl up among the other florals. Again, all this stuff is wired. Don't be afraid to twist it, to move it. Wiring is good. So I have the ivy. It's going up, but it's also going down. Okay, so it doesn't just go one direction. I've got it go in both directions so that it flows. You want it to flow through here. Okay. Let me bring some of the other florals through so that you can see them. I don't want my ivy covering up everything. My ivy is supposed to be my friller, or spiller, sorry. The rest of this is supposed to be my main attraction. So I want to bring some of that up. I want to spread this ivy out so it goes in different directions. And it can still be seen, but it's more of a backdrop and not an up in front in your face type of thing. There you go. So you can see the ivy is threaded up through here. Thread it up through on this side. Good, good, good. Okay. Okay. Everybody see what's going on? And this is what we have so far. Now you see we have some spots here that need to be filled in. So that's where our little guys come in. And I forgot to glue them, so let me set this aside. What did I do with my glue? Oh, here it is. I'm going to glue that paper down just a little bit. So when I cut it, it doesn't unravel. And while we're waiting for that to dry, let's go ahead and make our bow. Okay, so let's get our ribbons out. So on my bow, I'm going to start with a white to help pop the bow up out of the arrangement. Then I'm going to use my red Swiss dot, and these are both 2.5 inch. Then I'm going to go to a red 1.5 inch, a white, another white, and then a 1 inch red. Okay. Now my goal is to alternate these so that I don't have all of the Swiss dot on one side and all of the white on the other. I want to make sure they switch sides. So I'm going to show you how I do that. First of all, let's take our white. And this is a small arrangement. So we're only going to have 10 inch, well, they probably end up being 8 inches. 8 inch tails, and we're going to go 5 inches for our loops. We want it to be a small bow. So I put it in my bow maker. Here's my tail. It's 8 inches because I'm going to trim it. I make my loop, my first loop. And I want to make sure that the corner goes to the 5 inch mark. I'm going to gather it. I'm going to bring it over. Make sure this one goes to the 5 inch mark. Gather it. Okay, and then pull it up. If you can see, basically what I'm doing is making an X. And I trim it. Okay. This is just going to be a simple bow. A simple bow is easy to make. It's just X's. Put your ribbon in X's. Now this is a nice ribbon. I don't know if you can tell, but it's embossed. It's called embossed ribbon. It's got that floral design embossed in the ribbon, and I love it. It's very unique and unusual. Next, we're going to take the red. And the tail's on this side, so we want to make the tail go on this side. So we're going to start with the short top tail. We're going to pinch it, twist it, and we're going to put it into our bow maker. Now on this row, you usually make it 1 finger length or 1/2 inch, which is 2 finger lengths, whatever you want, to make it shorter, because you're gradually going to go shorter with your loops. So we're going to pinch it and twist it. Okay. And that is a finger width shorter. Pinch it. Twist it. Bring it down, make sure it's a finger length. And I always want, on my second set of loops, I always test it and make sure that I've got my loops the same size. You don't want your loop to be cattywampus or lopsided. You want to make sure that your loops are the same on each side, the same size on each side. And I cut my tail. Okay. Roll that ribbon up. Let's pin it so it doesn't unroll. Okay, now I'm going to go to the smaller ribbon. And now I'm going to repeat what I did with the white. I'm going to make the tail, pinch it, twist it, make my loop. Make sure my loop is smaller than the one under it. Finger width smaller, pinch it, twist it. Make sure it's smaller. And then make sure my loops are the same length, and they are, okay? And this loop goes to the top. Got this one at the bottom, got this one at the top, and we're retaining our X, okay? Anybody got any questions? Okay. So now I go with the white. Now this is a shimmer version of that embossed ribbon. Can you see the embossing on there? Let me see if the light will show it. It's kind of see-through in places, but that's what adds to the beauty, because then your colored ribbon will show through, okay? It's also got a light shimmer on it, iridescent shimmer, so it picks up the colors around it, okay? So we have 2 tails over here in our white, so this tail and the white goes on this side. So we're going to pinch, twist, bring it around. You know what? I want to save that for the very last one. Let me get my Let me get my 1-inch ribbon. Now you see, this is the beauty of having a bow maker, because it held my bow and I could change my mind and go get a different ribbon, and I don't have to worry about everything unraveling or coming apart. I don't have to worry about, oh shoot, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, because I can get up and go get that other ribbon. So this is the same thing, it's just a 1.5-inch version instead of a 1-inch. Pinch, twist, loop, scrunch it down, pinch it. We're going to twist it, have it come through. Make sure our loops are the same size. This one's just a little small. Make it a little bigger. There we go. Okay. Now see how that white emboss pops against the red and white? I like that. That's going to look fabulous on the front of our picture. I'm not sure what it's really called, but we'll call it a picture for right now. And no, English is not my first language, so I have funny pronunciations. Picture is one of them. Birthday is another. I had teachers and friends go absolutely insane with the way I say birthday. Okay, so now I'm getting ready to add my last layer of Swiss dot, but I'm going to change it up a little bit because I want the tail on top of the white. Okay, so I'm going to repeat what we just did. Pinch, twist, and loop. Make sure we go smaller than the white. Pinch, twist, and loop. Go smaller. And we're going to come down. Now, you're using wired ribbon, so don't be afraid after we get this cinched down. We're going to be able to move these loops and tails where we want them. So basically, we're just doing the mechanics of our bow. This is not what the finished bow will look like. I can make it look like anything I want. Also, while you're building your bow, if you want to put florals inside your bow, all you have to do is slip it between the two pegs and then continue building your bow. If you want to use glitter embellishments, people put glitter sprays in there. If we wanted to, we could put a piece of white fern in there. Just have a piece of white fern hanging in there in our bow. Okay. And then here is going to be my top or final loop. So we're going to put it on this side, pinch it, twist it. We're just going to make one small loop because this is going to be our center. And then we're going to come down. We're not going to twist it because we want the right side up. We're just going to come down, just like that. And snip it. Okay, so there's our bow. And this is just the basic mechanics of the bow. So now we're going to put it together. What I do is I use zip ties. Some people use Schnell stems. I will zip tie a Schnell stem to the back so that I can attach it. But I prefer to use zip ties on my bows. So you see how I have it? I have 2 fingers on the bottom to support my bottom loops. I have my thumb on the top. I pull it off. Now you hold it gently. You don't want to squeeze it to death because the whole idea is to keep your stack neat and tidy. You don't want your stack to fall apart. I take my zip tie. I'm going to feed it through my fingers. Wrap it around. Still supporting that stack so that it doesn't fall apart. And I'm just going to bring it down a little bit. I'm not going to cinch it tight yet. See how my ribbon slipped? So I want to push that back up where it belongs. I want to make sure everything is going where I want it. I want these tails to come down. I want to make sure these tails are coming up. Yes. Make sure my stack is still nice and neat. And then I'm going to cinch it down. And as I cinch it down, you're going to see how my bows popped up. That's what you want. Okay? You want to make sure you cinch it down really tight. so you can keep that form together. And then we're going to snip it. And there's our bow. Okay, now I don't trim it. I don't trim the tails until after I get it on my bouquet or my wreath, whichever I'm using it for. Okay, I'm just making sure my tails are falling the way I want them to. And I'm not above putting a dot of glue here and there. If it's going to be stubborn and not do what I want, I will not hesitate to glue that puppy where I think it should be. Okay, there we go. Let's get that out of the way and bring this back over. So this is going to set here, and see how that's going to pop? Anyway, so we're going to take this. We've got it all spread out. And we're going to put it, oh, I want to trim that stick down. Remember, trim it below the knuckle. You don't want to cut that knuckle off. Okay, and I'm going to try and feed it through here. Okay. And I'm going to try and get this to merge in with the rest of the flowers. Since everything is wired, don't be afraid to push and pull it around. Get what you want. Okay. Now see, this is our filler, so we're going to make it fill in that blank spot that we had, even if we have to feed it in between our other flowers. Okay. So I've got it, feeding it between the ivy and everything. I want this ivy to come down and around this way. There we go. And I scrunch that curl up a little bit because I want that to be a little more curled. Okay, I got that where I want it. Now I'm going to go, and not on the same peg as I used before, but I'm going to go on one of the outer ones so that this will stick to the outside, more to the outside of the arrangement and not all in the center. Okay. Put this in, cinch it down. Okay, can you see where I've put it? I put it around the outer. I don't know if you can see the zip ties on the camera, but I put it around the outer loop. I made sure I didn't catch my hanger, but it's out around the outer stem, okay? I'm going to go ahead and snip that. So we want to make sure all of our pretties are out front. Make sure everything shows like we want it to. Flowers are up here, up front and center. We don't want our flowers hiding behind our greenery. There we go. Okay, now see how that filler filled in? That space right there? Oops, I'm sorry. See how that filled that in? So now we're going to put the second one on the other side. And we're going to put it in the same place. Okay. I have this leaf here. That's a big pain in my arrangement. I want it to go someplace else. There we go. Got it back to the back. There we go. So let's get our next one. Let's trim it below the knuckle. Okay. Again, we're going to feed it through. Make sure that we get it where we want it. And then we're going to weave in and out some of our other florals. We're going to weave this in behind some stuff. Just so that it looks cohesive. And you notice I'm not afraid to pull these flowers where I want them. Don't be afraid to tug and pull on them. Just don't yank on them, but don't be afraid to pull them to where you want them to be. Like I have a berry down here, and I don't want this berry to be buried at the bottom. So I'm going to bring it up and push it right here. I got this here. I got some more berries hidden down here, so let's move them around so that they show. Bring them towards the front. Take this greenery, and I'm going to weave it in back towards the back. This long vine, because it should be in the back. Weave it back there. Brought my vine to the front. Okay. So let's go ahead, before we put this spiller vine down, let's go ahead and zip tie this in. We're going to go down, make sure we don't catch. And come up. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Okay, and I'm going to cinch it down. Again, making sure the bucket is on the front side. Okay. Snip it. Then I can bring my curls down. I'm going to feed this through here. Bring some more of my vine down. Okay. Bring my flowers to the front. Okay. Now, you see how it's covered up all of the inner workings now? You can't see where we've tied everything in. And if you look on the back, there's still room to add more. I still have spaces to add more if I wanted to. But I think this is enough. So what I'm going to do now is add my bow. I'm going to take the chenille stems to my bow. And I'm going to feed them through that main part that we did, that first part with the two thick. See? I'm going to pull it through. Pull my bow down tight. And this is so that my bow doesn't wobble and wibble. Okay? But don't worry, we're not finished with our bow. So I'm going to bring it over here. And I'm going to tie it up tight. Okay, finish that off. Now we don't want our bow hiding our flowers and our florals. So what we're going to do is feed those in through our ribbons. Okay? This big, long one that we had, we're going to bring it down the center of our bow. We're going to have it hide underneath some of our loops. And just have it pop out down there at the bottom with the rest of our tails. Okay? So that helps make the greenery part of our bow. So that your bow doesn't just stop and start. You don't want your bow to look like it's placed inside or on top of everything and then have everything hidden. You want it to be intermingled in there. And I'm still working on it, but I'll show you how it works. Okay? So we'll start on this side. I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to bring this one down on the outside of that one loop. Bring this one up. Okay? My tail, I'm going to trim my tail down so that it's smaller than my loops. Okay? So the tail is just at the top to add filler. Now since that loop went up, this loop is going to go down, and my vine is going to go on top of it. Can you see how I'm straightening that out? See how the vine intertwines? Get that curl to make a curl a little bit better. Okay, so this loop is going to go on top of the vine. It's going to go up. I'm going to feed that through there. This loop is going to come down. This loop, oh, this loop goes up, this loop goes down, and this is my center. Okay, so I've got this piece I want to trim down. Okay, and we encourage these berries and this flower to peek through. See how I've interspaced the florals with the bows and the ribbons? So this ribbon is going to go to the top, and we need to trim it down. We'll fluff it. Okay. And then this ribbon, we want to make it smaller. Okay. And again, we'll encourage these berries to come up through there. Then we have this last one. We're going to trim it down. And there we go. All right. We're going to have this ribbon go underneath. And we're going to have our polka dot go underneath that spiller. Okay? So it's going to go like that. Now when on the wires back here, you can't see, but you can see where I'm looping the wires so that they don't smash the ribbons. The wires have a loop in them, so they will come up and allow the ribbons to come up and not hide them. Fluffing out the rest of my loops. Center loop there. Some of my ribbon comes up on top of the vine. And some of my ribbons are going to go down under the vine. I just want the vine to be interspersed in between my tails. Okay, there we go. Twist my vine around so it's facing the same way. There we go. Fluff that up. Try to get some of these guys out here so they can be seen. Front and center, boy, front and center. There we go. We've got some flowers hiding back here, so let's bring them to the front. Keep this vine in behind. Keep this vine in behind. There you go. And there we have a beautiful pink and red Mother's Day arrangement. Now this can be hung inside or outside, be hung on the front door, be hung in the kitchen. If you want more, say you wanted more florals in this, you can always add more. Like I said, behind we've got plenty of room. You could add more ivy behind it if you wanted, but I like it just simple and plain. It looks like grandkids went out and cut a bunch of wildflowers and brought them in to mom or grandma. I like it. But then again, I like simple arrangements. I don't like them to be bold in your face, take over your decor. I like for them to be subtle and to blend in with your home decor. It's supposed to make your home feel more comfortable, more cozy, warm and inviting to your friends and guests. So we'll just make it a simple arrangement to hang on the wall and bring in some color after this gloomy winter. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of all this gray skies and gray snow. But anyway, there's the finished product. Go ahead and comment if you'd like. Let me know what you think of it. I will go ahead and get this posted in my Etsy shop tonight. And I hope you all have a wonderful evening. If you do have questions or you want to see me make something else, please feel free to leave a comment and I will do whatever you'd like to see. Boxing, storage. We can do a full-size over-the-top wreath if you want. We can do Easter. I also have some memorial pieces that I'm getting ready for Memorial Day. Anyway, there you go, everyone. Thank you for watching, and you all have a wonderful afternoon or evening. See you later. Bye-bye.